were talking earlier, you know, my brother pulled up, and when we started the program, I had in mind the UDF, Underdog Family, and briefly give you a little history on that. Like I said before, there was Inky Man, Uber G, and Big Brother Trav, you know what I'm saying? And it all started from Zulu Nation, you know what I'm saying? And the thing, I'm glad he's here. He'll give you a brief rundown on UDF because it was brothers like this that took their time out to teach me the culture, and you know what I mean, they were in the clubs before me and stuff, you know, not saying he party now, but you know, it's like I was a lot younger, so I learned from them. But they did the shows, like, you know, Busta Rhymes in the beginning of hip hop. So this real quick, man, it's my brother Travis, man, not just a brother in the light, you know what I'm saying, but my UDF brother that took time for me, man. And Goob and Ink ain't here, but y'all get their, you'll get their information too. But now it so happened that the brother walked by, so give my man a minute, man. He's just gonna give you our brief rundown on Underdog Family, Zulu Nation, where all of that started in the Bridgeport, Stratford area.
Well, UDF started, it was, Goob and I went to high school together. So we knew each other for a long time, and Inky and Goob used to work together, so that's how I met Inky Man, and all of this started, and we just, we all had that love for hip-hop culture, for the music, for the graffiti, the breakdance and everything, and it's crazy how the universe brings everybody together. John was a little younger than us, but we all met, and he was around us and just seeing what we were doing, and we were all achieving not only things within hip-hop, but just in our lives of becoming men, of working our regular jobs or going to school, whatever, and just growing. He was a big part of watching that. And then we didn't, you know, we saw each other here and there for a while, and then as I went on, I kind of backed away a little bit, but people were still watching what I was doing, what other people were doing, and I was watching him. You know, he didn't know I was watching, but I was watching what he was doing, and it's wonderful to see what he's achieved with Hip Hop 101 is just amazing to me, and that he's keeping the generation of hip hop keeps going. It keeps building. That's what's important about life, is just learn from each other and build. That's the best thing that we can do with one another.
And we all talk about like trauma, and one thing I learned is that dealing with trauma, you know, when I was 16, turning 17, I lost my brother to a stolen car. Rest in peace, Joey. And you know, when you out there running the streets doing what you're doing, stuff like that happens, you know what I'm saying? And it messed me up. So dealing with these brothers, it helped get my mind not off of it, but focus on something more positive, because in any instant, I'm really ready to run out there and do something stupid. But like I said before, being in the studio, being around brothers like this that's positive, it kept me out of those elements. You know what I mean? And just Trav being around, you know, he was like, he ain't tell you, but he was head of security, you know, and these was good dudes, like him, Ink, Trav, you know, Trav, Ink, Goob, these dudes was, and rest in peace, Jamie, man.
Yeah.
Jamie Rosario that just passed, man. I know y'all know him out there, like, yo, I called him King Jamie because in Zulu, you had Zulu Kings. And he was a Zulu king, you know what I mean? And he was very educated, and he would put us on, you know what I'm saying, and explain certain things. And for years, man, like, damn, man, you know, just rest in peace, Jamie, man. But, you know, that's the element that we had, a little brotherhood, and we was positive. These brothers, you know, there was a lot of gangs going down. There was a lot of stuff hitting the fan, you know what I'm saying, it was going down. You had, I don't even gotta name the gangs out here. If you was out here the 80s and 90s, you already knew what time it was. So it was like positive brothers like that kept me out of that equation, you know. And now to this day, like, you know, this brother's an electrician, got a family, he showed us something different. And, you know, back in the days, you know, I was running with the crew, we was the little knucklehead dudes, you know what I mean? They would pull us to the side like, Traveler, listen, man, y'all need to slow down, or, you know, y'all need to do this, don't be coming into meetings like this. You know, and we took it as respect. Some knuckleheads be talking junk like, oh, that's Trav or whatever, you know, but at the end of the day, we had respect for him. But Trav would always keep us on point, you know what I'm saying? Where Inky, you know, Ink was cool, you know, Goob was cool, but Trav was always the one that was on point. You know what I'm saying? You could tell by his life right now, he raised his family, you know, got a beautiful family, wife, kids, you know what I'm saying, the house, the whole nine. Like, so I learned, like, that's, at the end of the day, that's what we want to be like. You know, because all the hustlers, they coming home from 25, 30 years, all the dudes that had the Benzes, the big jewels, the money, all that other stuff, they had that, but, you know, this is the real winners, you know what I'm saying? Brothers that's working, coming off work, doing what they do, and he was just passing by. So like I say, everything is God meant, but we coming with y'all with this documentary. Like I said, you're gonna hear a little bit more about UDF from Ink and Goob and the rest of the brothers, and I'm just gonna tell you how 1001, Hip Hop 1001, not 101. A lot of people get it, but I understand, I get it.
Oh,
and the
1001.
Yeah, the 1001.
My mistake.
But what people don't understand, the 1001 is many meanings to that. Of course, there's 1001 things you can do with hip hop, but where we used to have our meetings at in the first studio I had was 1001 Main Street, the alley.
That's right.
So that tell you right now, Hip Hop 1001. So that's why that's always the foundation, the core of my success, because that's what taught me. Even though people didn't take me serious, I came up hard. I had records, you know what I mean? I wasn't the best. Them other DJs that was on, they never took time for me. That's why I educate the youth. And now that we had this event here with KRS-One, when I did my set, I brought other MCs up because everybody, not everybody, I can't say that, but a lot of the people that get a chance to be on, like a few people I know, I ain't gonna say no names, that have a chance, they don't put the city on. So it's always for me to put out the locals and the Bridgeport music. That's why the first young artist I bought was Smitty. Smitty. He came to me at 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? Now he rocked for KRS-One, right? How many of y'all could say that? Feel me? So that's the type of thing I'm saying. Like, he came here, he learned the culture, he rocked with me. He's a Hip Hop 1001. I took time with him and his moms. And guess what? He just opened up, and he's gonna have many more opportunities as long as I'm live and got breath in my lungs, because that's what we do at Hip Hop 1001. We bring our crew, and I got 11, 12-year-olds. Taylor, Elijah was, his grandma, rest in peace, Grand Dukes. He was at a funeral, but he'd have been right on top of me. And that boy right there is only 10, 11 years old, and he would have been DJing with me, but he had a loss in the family. But Taylor, Nick, Cash, y'all should have been here. That's my Hip Hop 1001 crew, but they was there at the 50th, and they'll be there. But that's the thing that we do. We want them, like, they just not working in the studio. We want to bring Bridgeport music out. Yeah, that's cool, New York, Cali, whatever, but somebody got to put Bridgeport on or push their music, and I feel that's me. I'm that person. Been doing it for over 30 years. So, yo, JB1, man, look out for this, man, this documentary. Thanks, Trav was in the building, man. You know what I'm saying? Let them know. We out here, this UDF, like I said, this big bro. So listen, man, we coming. This documentary gonna be something, y'all.